All right, we're live on YouTube now.
All right, thanks, Aiden. Time to get started then. So welcome to Dry Eye Happy Hour, everybody. Quick housekeeping note, if anybody has any technical difficulties, please reach out to Aiden, either in the chat here on Zoom, or you can email info@dryeyefoundation.org, or is text okay too, Aiden? You're mute.
Covering myself. I just want to address it. Everyone who's joining from home, you won't be able to see yourself. This is a webinar, so we just are focusing on the panel today. But you can still chat and ask questions with the Q&A.
All right, so for those who are new to this, Dry Eye Happy Hour is a Dry Eye Foundation program that we started back in 2020. And it's aimed at fostering strong community amongst those of us that have ocular surface diseases and taking deep dives into topics that matter for our everyday lives. And sometimes those topics are medical, sometimes they're practical or emotional or financial or all of the above. And during Dry Eye Happy Hour, we get to pool our collective experiences and wisdom and share them with everybody. So today's topic is moisture chamber glasses, also known as dry eye glasses or dry eye eyewear. And before I introduce everybody, I'm going to take a minute to explain what we mean by moisture chamber glasses. There can sometimes be a lot of confusion around the term because this term is sometimes used for moisture goggles that people use for protection while sleeping. But when we say moisture chamber glasses here at the Foundation, we mean any optical product, as in something designed to see through during the day, that creates a close fitting seal around your eyes. And that might be entirely through the shape of the frame, like a safety goggle or stoggles, or it could be through detachable shields, like some of the 7i and the Ziena and the Eyewear type brands. So moisture chambers or moisture chamber glasses have two purposes. One is key purposes. One is to increase humidity in the space right in front of your eyes. And the second is to keep out moving air. That could be wind outdoors, that could be fans or air conditioning or heat, or just literally air movements when you're walking across the room. Today, you're gonna hear a lot from our panel about particular brands because these are particular brands that are well known and loved in our community, and with good reason. But it's not really meant to be an infomercial. The real message is the concept of moisture chambers and how they can help people with severe dry eye symptoms. A moisture chamber can be as cheap and simple as a $5 safety goggle that you wear over glasses while you're watching TV at home in the evening. Or it could be like this $20, $30, $40 pair of motorcycle goggles that you, again, may wear with or without glasses. Or it could be a $100 or $200 pair of higher end dry eye glasses, or they could run to several $100s if you've got prescription lenses in them. These might be ones that are designed specifically to be more presentable, say in the workplace, help you do computer work more comfortably at your job. So there's this big range, and just be aware that if and when you choose to pursue moisture chambers, there's going to be something out there for every budget and every need. So I'm really excited about our panelists today. They're just individually really neat people, and they bring a wealth of experience to the table. We did lose one at the last minute today to illness, so I might be sharing a little bit more from my experiences too. Our Dry Eye Happy Hour tradition is for everyone to introduce themselves by sharing their name, their location, what they're drinking, how long they've had dry eye and why, if they do, and what their favorite eye drops are. So I'll start real quick with myself, Rebecca. I'm in Washington State. I am drinking ginger turmeric tea. I've had dry eye and corneal neuralgia since I had LASIK in 2001. And my favorite drops, I use Sustain Hydration quite a bit lately, sometimes Optase MTD. And now I'm going to pick on Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat, and I'm in California. And I'm actually not drinking anything, but if I were, it would be a chai tea. And my dry eye started with chemical burns to both eyes in a car accident. And my favorite over-the-counter drops right now are the new Refresh Optive with flaxseed. They work really great.
The Refresh Optive Mega
Yeah.
on a yellow box.
Yep, those are them.
All right, thanks, Kat. Daniel?
Hey, I'm Daniel, manager of Seven Eye and Ziena Eyewear, and I don't have anything either to drink right now. I'm in California as well, and I guess my optometrist said I have dry eyes since 2020, so I'm not really using any eye drops at this moment, but I do have acute dry eye, so once in a while I'll use my glasses or warm compress and all that stuff.
All right, Bobby?
Being told to unmute. Okay, I'm Bobby Malden. I live way the heck away from y'all. I am in Georgia. I've had dry eyes and eye issues since I had a bone marrow transplant in 2006, but I didn't start using the Pros lenses until 2011, and it was a year or so later that I actually found the glasses. So I'm being well taken care of. I'm not drinking anything except a bottle of water. And I use Refresh Plus most of the time for my eye drops.
All right, thanks,
Did I leave anything out?
Nope, you're great. And Ray?
Okay.
Ray, how about you?
Hi, I'm Ray. I'm in central New Mexico right now, although about half the year I spend that in southern Indiana. So I am drinking, but it's grape juice. I've had dry eyes for a long time, over 20 years, but I have Sjogren's syndrome. And my favorite drop, I guess, is mostly sustained hydration, PF. Although I do use a lot of Puri lens. This is plain saline, mostly to clean the gunk out of my eyes, but I use a lot of that. So that's mine.
Awesome, thanks, Ray. So we've got a diverse collection of eye histories here. Bone marrow transplant, chemical burns, LASIK, Sjogren's. And Aiden, go ahead and introduce yourself too.
I'm Aiden from Paulsville, Washington, right down the hall from Rebecca. Let's see, I don't have dry eye myself. I'm sure if you've been on a Zoom, you've heard me say that. Let's see, and for eye drops, if I'm using anything, it's usually a sample, and I like things in multi-dose bottles, so I have some of Eyewear right now. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn my video off for the rest of the meeting.
All right, so first we're gonna go around and have the patients in the group just share their moisture chamber glasses journey. Bobby, can I ask you to go ahead and start?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. I got my first pair of dry eye glasses after reading about it online. I went to a Harley Davidson dealership because I was told they carry some of this type glasses, and found my first pair, which I still have. They're kind of like right here. I use those occasionally too. I've ended up with obviously more than one pair. The clear ones I thought were just, the indoor supposedly, I thought were just great. But I keep one pair in the house, and I also keep one pair in the car because I have to wear something in the car because the air conditioner or the heater is always on. So, I keep at least two pair in the car. And I have a half dozen others, literally, that I use. I keep one by this door and one by that door in case I have to go outside. And that's kind of where I stand with my glasses. I couldn't do without the glasses any more than I could do without the Pros lens. They have made that much of a difference for me.
Right, you're a pros lens user, right?
Yes,
And
I
probably
am.
not everyone listening is going to be familiar with that, but it is a type of scleral lenses. So this is a double decker for you, pros
Oh,
lenses,
yeah.
and then moisture
Oh,
chambers
yeah.
on top.
It
Mhm.
is. And again, I don't think I could do without one or the other any easier. There are times that I haven't put my pros lenses in first thing in the morning and I'm going to go outside. I'll stick a pair of glasses on before I go out, especially if it's cold or windy or whatever. So, it's all good for me. And I don't know, again, I don't know what I'd do without these glasses.
So Bobby, you said you read about them online. If I know
I'm
it's
sorry. Yeah, I don't remember, Rebecca, where I
Right.
saw this. I don't.
I was just wondering if you remember, I know for some of us, this is going back a long time.
Yeah, it is.
What motivated you to try it? If it was something, I mean, if it wasn't something that like a doctor brought to you, was it like symptoms just getting out of control, or what was going on?
Very much symptoms getting out of control. Riding in the car it was a terrible experience for me, either whether I was driving or whether I was riding. We had to keep the heater off, the air conditioner off, and even then, to tell you how bad the moving air caused by walking hurts my eyes. So if I'm walking outside and there's a breeze, God forbid there be wind, it's very, very painful. I used to tell people, you'd be amazed how far you can walk with your eyes closed, because that's what I would have to do because it hurts. So again, the glasses have been a lifesaver for me, as well as the scleral lenses. Like I say, I don't think I could do without either. But when I got my first pair at the Harley Davidson dealership, I got a pair of sunglasses so I could use them in the car. I would wear them outside at night too, because that's what I had and that's what I used. But then after discovering through the Harley Davidson dealership, Seven Eyes, that was mentioned, I Googled it and, started learning about it. And I also found that if you call and talk to the people at Seven Eyes, they're very, very helpful into what's available and what you can get and what you can wear. And this is what I usually, when we're on the Facebook thing where we talk about the dry eyes, this is what I always, Google Seven Eyes and call the people and talk to them, because they can be so helpful as to what you need. I've ended up with 2 pair that have my progressive reader prescription in them. I've got a couple pair that just have the patch for, the bifocal patch, I think is what you call it. And that's helpful too. That's what I use my sunglasses in the car. But if I switch to my other clear glasses, if it's dark or if it's cloudy or whatever, they've got my full prescription in them. So, I'm prepared for sure with the help that I've gotten from Seven Eyes.
That's awesome. I remember 10, 15 years ago and more, I used to send people to Harley Davidson dealerships all the time to find protective eyewear for dry eye. And they typically would find something that would work for them, but they would let me know that they just got some pretty funny reactions from the staff there, because
Oh, yeah.
was that your experience?
Oh, yeah. They say, oh, here's this white-haired old lady. Oh, do you ride? No, ma'am. But that's okay. I'll help you anyway, she says.
So they weren't familiar with them specifically for a dry eye use.
No.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Bobby. We will circle back to everyone more later too. I'm gonna just move on and have everybody tell their story here. Let's see. Kat, would you like to go next?
Sure. So my dry eye started, as I said, with chemical burns to both eyes in a car wreck, and that was in 2002. Car battery exploded and the acid got both eyes full in the face. And the eyes, one thing I learned about sulfuric acid is your eyes they have a protein barrier in them, so it stops the acid from burning the eye other than the surface, but it wrecks the surface of the eye. So not only did I have to have my eyes rebuilt, I had to deal with the light sensitivity, the wind, everything hurt my eyes. And I think literally for the first 3 years, I wore my husband's welding glasses. He had a pair of welding glasses because those were the only things dark enough to keep the pain away. When I got into the glasses that we're talking about now, we do have a Harley, or we did. And I would go in and I would see the Harley Davidson glasses that had the sponge rim. But my problem was, by this time, I figured out that dark green lenses did not work for me because I might as well have just been in a dark room. And so I would buy other glasses that had amber lenses or yellow tint to it because that helped pop detail, but it didn't take care of the wind because wind would come up underneath, come up from above, glare. And I live in the desert. We can have winds up to 50 miles an hour sometime out here. So it was actually my cornea surgeon at Jules Stein Eye Institute that recommended 7-Eye to me because I had asked him, I'm having a heck of a time. And I'm also blind now in one eye. So it's important for me to protect the other eye. And so I need the wraparound, I need the sponge rim, and I need the amber. And to find that combination out in the real world, just going to lens crafters and different stores, it's hard to find that combination. So it was Dr. Anthony Aldave, he's the head of the cornea division now, who said, go to 7-Eye. It's a motorcycle company. They've got good glasses. They're reasonably priced, and they have different styles, different fits, and different lens colors. And so at that point, I wasn't ready for a pair of prescription glasses because I have Boston K-Pros. They're plastic corneas made out of PMMA plastic. And it takes a while for your eyes to get to the point where you can have prescription glasses. But I contacted 7-Eye and I bought a pair of the amber, and they work great. They worked really great. That was for outside. When I was doing some household work around the house, and a nail popped up and almost got my one good eye, I went back to 7-Eye and got a clear pair so that if I was doing things around the house, at least I could see and my eye would be protected. And then in 2021, I had to get a second artificial K-Pro in my sighted eye. The first one lasted 20 years, which was really good for a chemically burned eye. And lens crafters and even Kaiser, where I go, the prescription I needed was 6.1. And again, they could make a pair of glasses, but they couldn't tint them the way I wanted. So I sent an email, and Daniel, you answered me in I don't even think I was off my computer when I heard the ping, and I went back on and it was you. And Daniel sent me 4 different pairs. He had me send pictures of my face, front and side, so he could see which fit would probably work well for me. Sent me 4 pair of glasses. I picked the pair, and he sent them back with the prescription. They have you'll know what it's called. I can't remember what you called it, but you had to pop out the lens a little bit to fit the curve. So it's got like a little bump out on it that the other glasses don't, to make sure the curvature fits.
The high prescription adapter.
The
Correct.
adapter. The first time I put them on, I went outside and I went, oh, these are going to be the difference between seeing half a tree and the whole tree with the prescription. I put them on. There was no getting used to them. They were just like my regular glasses that I had made at Kaiser, and I wear them all the time. They protect my eyes. They keep the wind out. I bent over the other day to pick something up off the cement in front of my gate, and an errant branch was coming up from the ground. and would have gotten my sighted eye had I not been wearing these. Direct hit on the lens. So they're good in a variety of different ways for me.
Thank you, Kat. So I've got already just, there's an interesting variety of motivations sometimes behind getting moisture chambers, right? I mean, it can be driven entirely by pain and discomfort from dryness and wind and moving air and things, as Bobby was saying, or vision can be a huge part of the equation, and getting moisture chambers that meet your particular visual needs can mean jumping through a number of hoops. And also just the light protection aspect, because many of us do have a lot of light sensitivity. And so finding those glasses that both give us what we need in terms of the lenses and then the kind of peripheral protection, it's quite a journey. And I'm thankful personally, I'm just going to say this, even though we're still early in here, for Daniel and all the work he's put in to make things like this available to our community. Ray, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, thanks. I think I heard about moisture chambers through the Dry Eye Talk. There was a forum back in, 2005 or 2006. And at that time I had been wearing soft lenses, and I joined because of dry eye. I joined the forum, and I even bought some of the early 7-eye, the Panoptx, and they didn't work real well for me. That I bought transitions, and the technology wasn't that great, and my face is kind of small. So I didn't do much with them until I had to start wearing scleral contacts. But around 2015, 2016, I started to develop strabismus. And that's where one of my eyes turns, and it's like I started to see double. And so I had to get glasses with prism in it. Well, that helped with the double vision, but unfortunately my eyes were dry. I was wearing the sclerals, and so I couldn't wear the dry eye glasses, the moisture chamber glasses. And I guess I hesitated for a long time before getting something, because getting a prescription with that amount of prism that I needed was going to be expensive, but I ended up getting it, and it was very helpful. That was 6 years ago. But my condition, the double vision got worse. I ended up having surgery 2 years ago. And so the dry eye glasses right now, I still wear sclerals, but I'm not a real comfortable user. And so a lot of times when I put them in the morning, it takes me a while to adjust, and I'll put these glasses on just to give my eyes that comfort of being enclosed, and I can finally relax. I still have a tendency to go a little double when my eyes are stressed, and the dry eye is a huge stress. So I basically, anytime I'm outside, I wear these. These are the Air Shield with the foam lining. And just last week, I ordered a pair of the Ziena for indoors, because right now I'm in New Mexico. It's very low humidity, and as soon as I'm inside, if I do anything on the computer, my scleral lenses get so covered with crud and no tears, and I'm just miserable. So I'm going to start out with a simple pair of Ziena with clear lenses and just see how they feel. And if they fit my face, good enough. And if they help inside. And then if that works, I'm going to go ahead and get like, who was it? Was Bobby was saying like a reading progressive. I'll get something so that I can use the computer and read. But yeah, I really depend on these glasses. I have 3 pairs. I have my regular pair of, I have, these are great. These are transitions and progressives. So that when I'm in the car, I can see the dashboard, I can see the speedometer. But I also have another pair that I put a press-on prism so that when I'm out for a long time and my eyes get dry and stressed, I have a pair that has a slight amount of prism and I can put on and make it home driving without really stressing out about it. So far, that's the way I use my 7-eye glasses. I am really dependent on them for comfort and for vision. And for somebody like me, I have this tendency to double vision. These are actually an added plus because I'm very sensitive to light and shadows coming in around the sides of my eyes, which causes me to lose my control of my binocular vision. So these are really helpful. A lot of times if I'm stressing out and not seeing well, as soon as I put my glasses on, it clears up.
I really relate, Ray, to what you were saying a little earlier about putting them on and then just relaxing somehow, right? I think that for those of us with some photophobia or the extra light sensitivity, that can like creep up, and it's like we may not even be aware that that's exactly what it is, but you know it when you get under like protection that's blocking out any peripheral light around the frame. Then it's that feeling of just relaxing from it, because that peripheral light sometimes matters at least as much as what's kind of coming through the front. Wow, this is so interesting. So we, out of 3 here, we've got, including me, 4 really. We've got 3 of us that wear sclerals, and the 2 of you that wear moisture chambers a lot over the sclerals. It's really interesting because I think there's a lot of assumption out there from people going newly into scleral lenses that they might just not need moisture chambers afterwards. But depending on our various special needs, that's just not the case. We still have all these environmental challenges that we're dealing with. Okay, let's move on to Daniel. I'm going to get a different perspective on moisture chambers here. So 7eye makes the 7eye Panoptx brand and the Ziena Eyewear brand. We've talked about those a fair amount. Everyone's mentioned them on the panel. Daniel, I've known you a lot of years. You have a long history in the optical business. Tell us about your history with the dry eye community. How you kind of got started with this and how Ziena became a passion project for you.
Sure. So it goes all the way back to my family business. So my dad and his siblings they make glasses for other people, like regular glasses, like sports and fashion glasses and safety glasses. And we also make private labels for brands like Panoptx, who was my former client. And back in 2012, we bought the company from our clients, and I took over. And at the time, it was mainly a premium motorcycle eyewear company, because we sell mainly to Harley Davidsons, and I was just really green, honestly, in terms of what Harley Davidson culture is. I wasn't in that culture at all. And, once in a while we sell to patients with dry eyes. And I didn't really know as much until, about a year later when so backing up, when I took over the company, there was one product called Oasis, which is like this one right here. So it's like a big Jackie O sunglasses, and we didn't really sell that much, and I didn't really think about it as much. But one day there was a gentleman that came in and he was in such pain, and I'm like, what's going on? But he said he had a lot of dry issues, and he doesn't care what Oasis looked like. He doesn't care that this is like a female Jackie O frame. He just needs something to alleviate his pain. And and I was thinking to myself that, hey, I did enough business for motorcycle eyewear. If I have time, let me try my very first time to design glasses myself, because I want to design something for that guy so he doesn't have to wear this constantly, because this is more of a female frame. And so that's my journey with Ziena, in a way that it became a passion project, because I always like to help people, and I don't like seeing people in pain. And so, I didn't know what you would become later on, 10 years later, simply because he started with that guy, and he started my design career, really, because back then I was just selling glasses. I wasn't really thinking about designing glasses. And it really became a passion because I see how much impact it can make on people's lives. I hear a lot of humbling stuff over the years. And so it just makes me feel very happy it's not just a business anymore, but it's just to help people and giving back. And so for those of you that start using our glasses, especially the early stages, I'm sorry, because it was just my beginning of my designing career, but I'm coming up with better and better designs. So because eventually the whole thing is try to it's a marriage of function and fashion. And we always try to find the balance, because I can make very pretty fashion glasses, as pretty as Tom Ford glasses or Oakley glasses. But but you cannot wear those glasses for dry eyes, because they don't seal around your eyes. So there's got to be some balance. And every single year we're trying to push that limit to make it look as normal as possible without sacrificing the function. And so that's what we're doing every day, is just to improve upon the product. But also what I'm instructing with my team is, hey, it's not just the glasses just to fit people, but we're hearing a lot of issues about light sensitivity, for example. And our team, we don't just try to quickly sell a pair of glasses. We really take the time to listen to you guys about what your needs are. Like, hey, do you have any light sensitivity? Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? What kind of activities do you use it for? Is it just watching TV? Or like, I remember this lady that using the glasses for Bible study, but like the light ahead of her is too bright, but she cannot turn the light down for everybody else. So, we need to talk about just how dark the lenses is, because we don't want to make it so pitch black that you can't see anything, and spoil your eyes, really. But we need to find out the best darkness that won't spoil your eyes, but will just makes it feel a lot better than now. And so so it's not just the glasses, like I said, it's also about the type of lenses you choose. That's very, very important. And so it doesn't matter if you get the lenses from us or you get it from a local optical shop, we actually take the time to recommend the best lenses for you. So that's everything.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. I first got to know 7i, or we just called them Panoptx back in the day. It was about 20 years ago. And when I was still kind of living in England, but we were in the process of kind of moving to Florida. And I remember when I got my first pair of air shields, the ones with the, the foam eye cups. I'm not sure if the pair I have in front of me is one with a removable cup, but those are to me, it was a shock when I started using them, because I hadn't even noticed the extent to which I was avoiding going outside. And it was when I started spending more time outside, in the glasses, I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that my eyes were bothering me so much that I wasn't going out because of it. Stuff just creeps up on you. So those stuck with me. And at the time, for a brief little while, Seven Eye had someone on their team who had started to market the glasses specifically in the dry eye world. And we hosted a little conference for people with dry eye back then. This is, again, going close to 20 years ago in Florida, and they came and kind of demonstrated them and things. But that kind of didn't stick in terms of the dry eye marketing. They did eventually bring out that Ziena, what was it, Dennis? The Oasis, the first one, right?
Yeah.
But it was after you came on with that one, with the ownership change and everything, where you started developing all these newer designs of them. And I think of how much our community waited, with bated breath for when are we going to get a smaller Ziena and things. I mean, I know we kind of collectively put the pressure on you for all these different things we needed, but just shows the extent of benefit that we get from these. But it's a hard nut to crack, making moisture chambers that will fit everyone and meet everyone's needs.
Correct.
Daniel, could you speak to maybe the fogging question
Yes.
a little bit more?
Yeah. So the you mean like the fogging issue on the lenses?
Yeah, I don't actually hear from a lot of people in our community about fogging being a problem, but once in a while I do. And so people who are considering these, they'll ask a lot, do they fog up?
Sure.
So I'd love to just hear from your perspective, how much of an issue that is and what you do about it.
I think that's my main issue, really. I know there's not a lot of people may have that issue, but there are some. And like I always try to strive for excellence. And so it is a big issue for me because there is no technology in our eyewear industry right now that can make anything completely anti-fog. Or maybe NASA may have some space technology that we can't afford right now, but to my knowledge, we don't have a really, really good anti-fog. Had we have a good anti-fog coating, I would have sold even more to the doctors and nurses who use this for COVID protection especially at the onset of the pandemic. But they, sitting in the cold ACs in a surgery room without moving at all, their lenses can easily fog up. And so right now, there are a few ways to alleviate the lens fogging issues. The first one is you can use anti-fog spray that you can buy from Amazon, a local sporting goods, even from us as well. But those are just temporary spray. You can also do a lens coating for the anti-fog, or you can simply kind of wear the glasses a little bit away from your face so you have a little bit of gap to vent your perspiration. So that's the only thing I can say is to alleviate the anti-fog, the fogging issue, but it's not really perfect right now because there is no affordable technology as we speak of yet.
All right, thank you. And last, Daniel, anything more you want to speak to in terms of like the pipeline, or maybe you have a wish list? What would you like to be able to
Sure.
do in this space in the future?
Yeah, so it's definitely lots of wishes from myself and also from others. For example, we always try to, every time we come up with a new design, I try to fill the needs of a group that couldn't wear our glasses well. So for example, when I came up with the Nereus glasses, which is a lot smaller than the Oasis, very soon after that, people started saying, is there something smaller than that? I'm like, what the heck? And then when I came up with the Kai, which is even smaller than the Nereus, which is smaller than the Oasis. And then there's almost immediately people said, is there something even smaller than the Kai? And so what's in the pipeline right now is something even smaller than the Kai. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be somebody who's going to say, is there something smaller than that later on? But I'm always trying my best to fill the need of a particular group that I haven't filled yet. And Rebecca's right that everybody's face is different. So everybody's face, there's just so many different face structures. Ethnicity actually plays a part too, because the curvature of your skull, like your brow bone and cheekbone, is different depending on your ethnicity. So like Asians have more of a squarish angle on your brow bone, and Caucasians have more of a curved in angle. And so imagine if you're Spanish, who has so much blood mixed over the centuries, there's all kinds of different curvatures too, or African Americans. So just all these ethnicities have different skull structures. So I'm trying my best to fill as many people as possible. So there's two styles that's in the pipeline that's very, very soon. One is a larger male frame, and one is an extra small frame that's unisex. Another frontier I would like to work with, and I'm sure Kat can relate to that, is the fact that some of us have very high prescription, and our glasses can only adapt to a certain range on the prescription. So I'm trying my best to design something that can accommodate very high prescription later on too. Last but not least, as you can see, these silicones are not quite translucent, and I'm sure there are plenty of materials out there that's translucent, but it's not as soft or soft to the touch. So there's always pros and cons on choosing these materials. So I'm trying my best to see if we can get a translucent material eventually, so that there's not as much peripheral blockage. Because some depending on how you wear the glasses, depending on your facial structure too, and how the glasses fit on you, there can be some peripheral blockage. So.
Great, thank you, Daniel. I want to mention on those areas, and I appreciate again all your work on pushing these harder prescriptions into the glasses. That's a big need out there. I remember the first time that somebody called me and told me they were really excited to be able to get their very high prism lenses done in a Ziena. I think it was a Ziena or a Air Shield. I forget now. It just makes a big difference to people's quality of life. I want to mention, I don't think I brought this up earlier, but there are also custom moisture chambers available from some companies. And this goes way, way, way back. There was a company that was making this clear material, and they would sell it to opticians to create custom panels around a frame. And then I think they stopped making it, but there were still some opticians around the country that were doing this. There's just not very many of them. We don't hear about them very often. I mean, I know one on Long Island in New York. I know Bascom Palmer in Florida does them. We know a handful of others. We're trying to keep a list at the foundation. So that need comes up sometimes if someone's got to have a clear, not like the semi-opaque shields, or if they've got a very high prescription that just cannot be put into one of these frames, or they're just having too much difficulty again with the shield. So if anybody's listening and they're interested in that, we can try and get you information on what some of the sources are for those. Let's see. So I'm seeing some questions still out there. Whoops, let me pull up the Q&A. And I know we've been kind of typing answers to some of these, but I'm going to just read. Actually, Daniel, you're probably seeing this too. The question from Jill. I think you've mostly kind of answered that about the new frames that you're working on there.
Right. Yeah, if you have a bigger frame, or depends on your face, some frames won't have any peripheral blockage whatsoever. So.
Let's see. And Todd is asking about rimless wraparounds that look normal. Wraparounds, enough protection and moisture retention, no foam, no seal. Right. Gosh, I'm trying to remember now. years back. I forget what this brand was. I don't know, Aiden, if you
Oh,
might.
I know what you're talking about too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I try to talk to them. Yeah.
it was some
Now,
computer glasses type brand,
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
so it was very good. I wanted to network with that company, but I don't think they're doing much, if at all. And it was very specific to a particular face type too. And I was thinking in my head, or Master Evil Plan, maybe we can do something together, you know.
Right.
But but that was a long time ago, like 10 years ago. I've heard of that company. Yeah, you're right.
I remember they had one in particular that the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, I bet that would be popular in the dry world. And then they discontinued that particular frame. I was like,
Right.
called halogen or something. I forget.
No, I don't think so. But it was a rimless, and
Yeah.
it has some moisture. But it was, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna get killed in business. But it was very specific to a fitting structure, unfortunately. But yeah, I would have done something with them too.
Another one where I don't actually know if they're still selling these, but I'm going to put it in the chat. CFit Megs. These are, since you brought up rimless, these are rimless, but they do have shields on them. This was another option that I mean, they're not necessarily the highest quality, honestly, but for some people who needed the higher prescriptions, I know quite a few people back in the day got these. The shields were on the shallow side, so it just depended on the kind of facial shape needs there, whether it was going to work for someone or not. Let's see. Okay, I want to circle back now to Bobby and Ray and Kat. What kind of advice would you give to people who are, starting to become aware of moisture chambers? They know they need something, but not sure about getting started. What would be your best advice to people considering some kind of glasses like these? Kat, could I pick on you first?
You can. I think that the term moisture shield needs to get more visibility, ironically, because I'm an admin in a glaucoma group, and people just want sunglasses. They don't know specifically what they need, and unfortunately, you don't see a lot of these in the places where we go, which is to the ophthalmologist's office, a lot of times. And so whenever anybody asks me, I do the 7-eye link, and I explain why you want the shield around the rim, why you want it to wrap around, and why you want to be able to pick out your lens color. And online gives a lot more options to that. But for example, I would love to walk into Jules Stein Eye Institute one day and see a 7-eye setup where there's like maybe 3 different kinds of glasses that have the rims that patients can actually see and touch and hold. It's interesting that a lot of us with vision impairment are visual people, and we need to see things, we need to hold things, we need to try them on. And I think that would be a good starting point, because people don't realize what a sponge rim around the rim can do for their dry eyes. And dry eye is something, I think I answered 3 posts in our group alone today about dry eye. So it's an everyday question, or at least 3 or 4 times a week question on a slow week. People are looking for these, and they need to know what to ask for and where to get them.
Yeah, the terms are, thank you. The terms are certainly not familiar out there. I know we get the complaint all the time that, how come I had to learn about this thing on social media? Why doesn't my eye doctor know about these? Or I go to a big dry eye center. They have every possible treatment, but their optical shop doesn't have these. That's feedback we get. So yeah, that was one of our our hopes is to do a better job of raising awareness out there in the medical community.
And if I may say something too, is, I sell dry eye glasses all day long, every day for the last 11 years, but I didn't know I have dry eyes until my optometrist one day told me, hey, I think you have dry eyes. And that's just I'm not even aware of myself, and I'm talking about it every day. And to me, I just feel like, I use computer 10, 12 hours a day, every day. And I just maybe eye fatigue, and that's why my eye stings maybe. But I didn't think about dry eyes until my own optometrist told me about it. So sometimes people just don't know what dry eye is.
Can
Or
I
even
add
me.
something to that?
Yeah.
So when I had my eye injuries, one of the constant things I had was drippy, teary eyes. And so much so that the tears would drip off my face. And it was my ophthalmologist again who said, well, you have dry eye. And people new to dry eye can't correlate. My eyes are dripping tears. How can I have dry eye? But it's the education of the type of tears that we have. I mean, we have emotional tears when we cry. We have reactive tears when we cut onions. But the eye needs the basal tears with the proteins and the nutrients to help keep the eye moist. And that's why we use things like Sustain and Refresh to replicate those basal tears. You have to, and it sounds weird to use an eye drop, a wet eye drop, when your eyes are already wet to fix dry eye. But I think there has to be an education with what dry eye is as well, because most people can't compute my eyes can't be dry. They're wet all the time. And it's the wrong kind of tear. And you also need a good tear film on your cornea to see well. And dry eye can affect that as well, because again, they're the wrong kind of tear. On your cornea, you need the basal tear. And so I think I'm a former training director, so you can hear my mind working. It's a whole awareness thing of what it is, what it looks like, what it feels like, and here are some of the tools that you have that can help it. So it's more than just the glasses, but the glasses are probably 80% of the correction for my dry eye. And then I'll throw in, the lubricant tears and the ointments that I use, but the glasses are the key. But you have to get people to the point where they understand what they have and what they need to ask for and where they need to go to look for it. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. There's a lot of just awareness and education to happen. I mean, when I'm talking with people like on the helpline, if I'm hearing from somebody who's putting in drops every 15 minutes, it's like a no-brainer. Are we doing moisture chambers? And if they haven't heard of them, that's like a good next step. I mean, there may be medical treatments and things that are missing there too, that they need to work with their doctor on, but this is just such a practical way to get comfort under better control. Ray, how about you? What's your best advice for people like this?
Well, I think Kat covered a lot of it. I think that, if you're thinking about and you've heard about moisture chamber glasses, but you're not sure. This is going to sound like an advertisement for 7-Eye, but I was one of those people. It's like, I don't know, how can you tell, somebody online? Well, I tried a couple of different places, but I've had really good luck with 7-Eye. They were able to come up with the correct frame that fit my face, which is super important because the frame I had before was also a 7-Eye frame, but it didn't fit properly. And to just kind of start out, see what they have that's on the shelf, try it out, and see if it makes a difference. You kind of have to get over the thing that you might look goofy in your office or out in public or socially, but it makes such a huge difference to me. I mean, it's something I pick up and have every day, and I'd kind of freak out if I lost them or broke a pair. But, if you just, start out simple, see if they actually make a difference. And I go out there whenever I wear mine. If anybody looks at me, I play them up, I say how great they are, because that's what they are for me. They allow me to drive, number one. I really couldn't drive if I didn't have them. And just take a leap, and you can have confidence, I think, in a company like 7i. They've, it's worked for me. I would trust them more than a local optician. They don't have the experience of, cutting the lens in a particular way to fit in those frames. Well, that's about all I had to say. Just if you're suffering, like you said, and using drops every 15 minutes, it's a much better solution. And it should help you relax and see better and feel better.
Great, thank you so much. We've got a couple more questions I want to get to here, and then I think we'll need to go ahead and wrap up. We're getting close to 4. I just appreciate you all so much. Just a really rich information sharing time. Let's see. Barbara Livermore says, the Ziena glasses are great. The only issue I have is the thick frames with the shields around causing a closed-in feeling, kind of depressing when in the office a lot at work. Wondering if anyone else struggles with this and how they handle it. That one actually kind of resonates for me. I mean, I love my air shields outdoors. I always have them in the pocket of my car. Indoors, as much as I personally love the Zienas and literally tell everyone about them, I get claustrophobia, sort of, a little bit, even though there, lots of light coming through them. Somehow I do sometimes just get that constrained feeling. That's probably the key thing keeping me from using them at work as much as I know that they might help me. Mostly I don't have as severe a need as some others have for them. So just want to say, I get what you mean about that. I know this is a dumb thing. I showed these before, my little just safety goggles. When, I've got a kid in college in California, and we drive down there sometimes to visit. And I found on the long driving trips that these worked fantastic for me because they were clear all the way around and big, and somehow, probably because of the giant lenses. I mean, I know I look totally goofy with these, but it somehow visually I was just happier with that. So like I say, sometimes it's just down to that practical troubleshooting of what's going to work. I don't often use these at work, but sometimes when my office gets too dry, my scleral lenses will start getting those deposits all over them too. And I'd rather push through than have to take them out and rinse them off. I just don't do that during the day. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I will pop these on sometimes just to get some more moisture in there and calm that whole thing down. Anyway, just my personal perspective on that. And let's see, there was another. So, right, the question that Aiden brought from Chris about making thinner frames. There are technical constraints on those. Daniel's answered that in the chat here.
We'll always push our limits for sure on that.
I will mention one other. I think I mentioned a little at the beginning. I don't have one handy, but some of you might be familiar with a product called Stoggles. Mm-hmm. They're like, again, sort of a safety thing. The shields are not very deep. It's all just a single frame. But for someone who's like very sensitive to the weight of the frames and that closed in feeling, it might be worth trying in case they can get kind of just enough protection from it. I think of those as a very simple, kind of lightweight alternative. And then let's see, Kathy is asking, is Eye Shields a brand of moisture chamber glasses or a particular style? That's a great question. So it's Air Shields, it's 7-Eye Air Shield, and it's a brand of a whole line. I mean, I should let Daniel speak to this, really. You've got quite a few frames in that line.
Sure. Yeah. So we have a 7-Eye Air Shield frame that's more with the foam. And these are more typically more for outdoor because they look more like sunglasses. And then we have the Ziena glasses that look more like optical frames and with the silicone on there. So, and for the really light sensitive patients, I typically go with more actually with the air shields because it's just thicker on the peripheral side, and so you just want to block more peripheral lights.
Great, thank you. I was just trying to look for a quick note here. Aiden, you had something you just shared from Linda who wasn't able to make it. I see that in the notes. During the day using the moisture chambers and autologous drops and the 7-Eyes outside. Something Linda shared with me when we spoke the other day that just stuck in my memory. One of those magic moments of, when you've got complex corneal disease and it has constrained your life in various ways for a long time, there's a lot of losses there, things you used to be able to do that you can't do anymore. And through our various treatments and through things like scleral lenses and moisture chambers, we're trying to claw back some of those things and be able to do what we love. Linda mentioned a time when they went to Florida on a vacation, and I think they were on an airboat in the Everglades. And because of her 7-Eye Air Shields, she was just able to have a great time at that. And she never would have been able to do something like that without the protective eyewear. All right, any last minute things? Anything I missed? Anything anybody wants to share before I wrap up here?
I have something to say real quick.
Sure.
So you don't have to necessarily try our glasses, but to really see if these moisture chamber glasses can work for you is if you have a ski goggle lying around or even swimming goggles. Sometimes when a patient of mine that just absolutely cannot find something that can fit her face, I will say, hey, if you're in absolute pain, wear a ski mask or a swimming goggle and see if that will help alleviate pain. And if it does really help, then maybe try some dry glasses after that.
I love that. I would add to that too, if the aesthetics of all of this are the thing that puts people off, just do it in the privacy of your home. Any time that you spend under moisture chambers during the day is time well spent. That's extra protection for your eyes, extra moisture in your eyes. You don't have to wear them all day everywhere. And that can give you an idea, just testing out the concept. How much is this going to help? And tell you, is it worth really investing some money for maybe some of my more complex needs? All right. Well, Bobby, I want to say a huge thank you to Bobby. This was actually her first venture into Zoom, and I think she was just absolutely a pro. So thank you, Bobby.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Ray is a graduate of another dry eye happy hour a few years back, right, Ray? I know you were on one. I don't remember which. But
No, I've come to the happy hour for emotional support when I was going through my double vision phase and mine hit the real bottom. I needed support, and you provided it. I really appreciate that.
we're so glad to have you. And Kat, I've just now gotten to know and has just got an extraordinary story there and just a wealth of information to share. And Daniel, yeah, one of the heroes of our dry eye community. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
We will see you all next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.